Hey there and welcome to Consult the Blind Guy. My name is Andrew, and in today's live stream we're talking about data entry, or if you have any other questions about any of the previous topics I've covered on ways to make money from home or online, go ahead, feel free to drop them into the live chat. If you're watching on a replay, go ahead, drop them down in the comments section, and I'd be more than happy to answer them for you. If you're new here, stick around. Hope you enjoy the live stream. If you're a member of the consulting crew, welcome back. Hope you're having a good one. Let's get to it. As I said, welcome to Consult the Blind Guy. My name is Andrew, and I'm here to help you build your brand, grow your audience, market your content, and make money. And in today's live stream, we're talking about data entry. And if you have any other questions on any of the previous videos on ways that you can make money from home or online, please feel free to ask your questions in the live chat, or if you're on replay, go ahead, drop them down below, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. So if you've seen this morning's video, we talked about a deep dive into data entry. Well, what is data entry? Essentially, data entry is taking any specific information and entering that information into a document of some type, whether it's a Word document, a spreadsheet, a specific software for a company, or on your computer that you have yourself to further be able to store those records or use them in another manner. This can also include transcribing videos or audio, translating from one language into another, sharing information from different case studies and putting them all into a spreadsheet to turn around and create a graph. There are many, many different types of data entry, and you can start out with no experience. And the more experience you have, the more likelihood you are to make a decent amount of money per hour or per job. Data entry is something that can be done on all of the freelancing websites. It's something that can be done part-time or full-time, and you can have that as well in the seasonal section depending on the business itself that requires it. And then you also have full-time or part-time jobs locally that will have this kind of work. So some of them may actually offer the ability to do remote work, which is working from home or online. And then some of them may actually require to work in person in a building. But it's entirely up to you. If you want to work from home, you can find those that specifically offer the remote work platform, or you can look for a spot that's needed within the freelance community. You can check out Fiverr, Rev, Upwork, Craigslist, LinkedIn, just to name a few. And depending on which platform you're searching, depends on the amount of money that you're going to be making. Because if you're on some of the freelancing sites like Fiverr, for instance, that's a one-time case by case basis. Same thing with Rev. Upwork, more or less the same thing. Because of the way that they have their terms of service set up, you're not supposed to do any dealings outside of those platforms. Now, if you're on LinkedIn, you can list it on your profile of a service that you do offer, and you can list your experiences for work related to everything. And then on Craigslist, that's entirely on you. It's a ad that you can place, or a job listing that you can place on Craigslist. You can give the information about what it is exactly you're going to do for the data entry and the amount it's going to cost the customer to hire you to do that work. All the other platforms, you can also list the amount of pay that you want to make per job, and you can set the turnaround time from 1 day up to 90 days on Fiverr. And the other platforms also have a variable time frame for everything. Now, in my opinion, it kind of sucks that Fiverr and the other platforms want to hold you to offering that service only on Fiverr without having any outside dealings. And that's where having a business page on Facebook or Instagram or any of the other social medias come into play, as well as having your own blog or website, because then you don't need Fiverr, you don't need Rev, you don't need Upwork or any of the others. You can offer that on your own platform and be able to set things up the way you want it, rather than having them tell you what is or is not allowed between you and your customer. And essentially, you can do data entry on everything, whether it's doing something for like accounting purposes, whether it's taking the names, for instance, of music albums for a musician. You could catalog their work, whether it's their songs and the amount of time and what album they're on, or even doing the transcribing of their lyrics from music into a document, anything. The, like I said a moment ago, the possibilities are truly endless when it comes to data entry. That's one way of doing things. When I was in the Marine Corps, I did a lot of data entry. I've got 8 years of experience with the Marine Corps alone for data entry because people that were interested in joining the Marine Corps would either fill out a pamphlet, they would see a recruiter in a high school, a college, or out at the malls, or come into the office, call into the headquarters. There's many ways that the information would be gathered, and then it was my responsibility to take that contact information and then add it into a spreadsheet for us to be able to reference while we're out. So we knew if it was somebody we already spoken with, or if it was somebody that we needed to call, where they lived, and their hours of availability for possible meetings or interviews, and so forth. I also did data entry as a telemarketer, and that would be to read a spreadsheet, make a phone call, and then further fill out another document spreadsheet to be able to take the information from the original for the call list and then enter it into the new spreadsheet to acknowledge whether they were interested in the offer or not interested in the offer. And that was how our company was able to go through cold calls, calling people that did not contact us, and be able to gain new customers and offer our services. And doing data entry, on average, you can make anywhere between $10 and $17 an hour, depending on the company. Most people with no experience to a little bit of experience, on average, make about $13 an hour. Now, the more experience you have, the more money you're going to make. So, how can you go about doing data entry as a beginner, somebody with absolutely no experience? Well, obviously, you're here on YouTube, which means you have some experience with technology, whether it is a phone, a laptop, or a desktop computer, whether it's a Windows computer or a Mac computer, doesn't matter. Data entry can be performed across the board because it's typing. The more proficient you are at typing, the easier data entry will be. Now, if you're not all that good at typing, then you are going to need to brush up on it a little bit. It's not like you need to do 120 words plus a minute or anything like that, but you do need the basic skills of being able to type and read so you can transfer that information from one type to another. And as I said, there are a number of different ways that you can get into doing data entry, whether you're doing it as a freelancer, whether you're doing it as a part-time, full-time, or seasonal work, or a case-by-case basis, and whether you're going to do data entry for a company physically in person or working from home and online. Some companies do offer the remote work through a secured server, so you would be working from home and connect directly into the secured server of the business. And in some other cases, it may be unsecured and you're just doing standard work on the internet in general. This can include, for instance, maybe somebody needs information from a blog transferred from their website to their social media. Taking that original information and then breaking it down and putting it on their Facebook business page or Pinterest or something like that is still kind of data entry. Because, yes, in some cases you can just cut and paste. However, in some cases, they may require that there is a word limit or it's rephrased in the way that it's repurposed and so forth. So it all depends on the company and what their needs are, or the person and what their needs are, but data entry is fairly simple. So if you have any questions on data entry, please feel free to drop them into the live chat. If you're watching on the replay, go ahead and drop them down below. And if you're not interested in the data entry and you've seen any of the previous videos on the many ways to make money from home and online, and you have questions about them, feel free to ask those questions as well. We have another 90 videos to go in this series. So if you have any specific ones that I've covered in season 2 that you would like me to prioritize for season 3 and forward, by all means, please let me know. I will bump them up in the list so they are done sooner rather than later. So you don't have to wait anywhere between a week or up to a year before this series is completed. I am actually considering upping the amount of videos released per week because there are so many videos that are going to be in this topic, or possibly taking a couple of them and putting them into one video rather than doing the 5 like I did originally in season 2, because these deep dives can actually be quite lengthy, and I know you don't have all day to be sitting there listening to me ramble on about the various different ways that you can work from home and online. And I want to make sure that you're getting value and not spending an entire day listening to me here on YouTube or on Facebook to get the information you need. So we do have the first 10 videos knocked out. There will be another video on this coming Monday for tutoring, and then I am in the process of recording more videos this week for the following week. So if you have any specifics that you would like to have done, please let me know. Hey Boonsong, thanks for being here. Hope you're having a good day, or in your case, a good evening. So I have been absolutely busy with getting everything going for the series. I am actually in the process today of taking the entire list that I have created of these 100 ways to give you a printable or downloadable PDF or doc of this entire list. That way, not only will you have the videos to be able to reference for what all of them entail and what possibilities and resources you can find from them, but I'm going to give you the 100 jobs list. That way you can go through them and see exactly which ones interest you and which ones don't, and which you feel may best suit you going forward, or you may have questions on, or just want to do further research on your own. There are a few of them within the list that aren't specifically geared towards those that are blind or visually impaired, but they can still be accomplished to some degree by the blind and visually impaired community. The whole reason I started this series was to not only show the blind and visually impaired community that there are opportunities out there for us, but it's also to help everybody in general to find a source of income. Myself and many of our community members are on supplemental security income or Social Security Disability, SSI and SSDI, or some form of government income for being legally disabled and blind. And unfortunately, being in the disabled and blind community, we have many restrictions that are placed on us by the government, and we want to maintain our independence to the best of our ability. And one of those ways would be to get off of disability and off the government income, because then we have the freedom to choose on what we want to do, when we want to do it, and whether or not we can afford to do it. In most cases, when it comes to being on disability, whether it's SSI or SSDI, you are on a very, very limited income and you're not allowed to do a lot. It's very hard on that low income to be able to go out and go to restaurants, go to the movies, and do other things. 90% of that income, if not more, usually goes to your rent and expenses for living, your heat, your electric, your water, your trash bill. Depending on what community you're in, there could be a lot more expense when it comes to whether you're in a house or whether you're in an apartment, whether you live with family or not. There's a lot of variables in there, and it's very difficult in order to be on a low income and be able to enjoy things in life. You know, the government has you pretty much between a rock and a hard place. They have restrictions on you about the amount of money you can have every month, how you get your money every month. They have restrictions on whether or not you can be in relationships in the sense of getting married or not getting married. And the reason that they do that is because if you get married, they can then add in your spouse's income and be able to restrict you even more, because then they count your two incomes together, which cuts down one income and makes you rely on the other person. So there's a lot of variables that go into being in the blind and visually impaired community and in general the disabled community. And this series is one way for me to help my community to be able to find a way to be more independent and do something that they enjoy and want to make extra money or be able to make a full-time living, so we don't need to be on the government income. So if there's no more questions other than the ones that I've already answered, I will wait a minute and see if any more come in other than ones I've already answered from my notes, and then we'll end out today's stream. There are a number of places that you can check out for hiring possibilities. There's the freelance area, which would be Fiverr, Rev, and Upwork, as I said. You can go on to LinkedIn. They have jobs listings on there as well, and you can be able to network on there with the various different freelancers, business owners, or members of the company who may actually be interested in hiring you. There's also Craigslist, which you are entirely up to you on what services you offer on there and the amount you're going to get paid for doing your service. Then there's also the job sites out there like Monster and Career Builder and all kinds of others. There's way too many different help wanted type recruiting business sites out there. But you can do a quick Google search or browser search for data entry jobs near me, data entry jobs online, and you can find what's close to you and what their specifics are on the data entry type to know whether or not you and that company are going to be a fit and be able to make some extra money or create a career out of it. Alright, so as I said, next week we are going to be covering tutoring, and I am in the process of recording more in the series and then getting them uploaded for you. We are 74 days away from the People of Video conference in Albany, New York. If you're a content creator here on YouTube or any of the other platforms, whether it's Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, and you're interested in learning about how you can turn your content creation into a business or making more money through your content creation, it's a great experience to be a part of People of Video. You get to learn from some of the top influencers in the industry in a 3-day conference, and you get to learn what they recommend for gear and ways to do things, as well as some of their tips, tricks, and hacks into creating better content and how they make their multiple streams of income. It is October 8th, 9th, and 10th in Albany, New York. And there are still seats available. The conference is being held at a conference room in the hotel, and they also have rooms there as well as at the other hotels right there in the area. If you're interested in checking that out and want to learn more, check out peopleofvideoonline.com. You can also find information on Facebook at the People of Video Conference Facebook page, and I will also post a link on to the Consult a Blind Guy page for you to be able to go there as well. So I hope that today's live stream was helpful for you. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them into the comments and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Until the next live stream, I hope you have a great week. Stay safe, enjoy the weather, and we'll see you in the next video or live stream. Have a good one.